This is For the Governed, a podcast series brought to you by Athalonz. Here are your hosts, Tim Markison and Ron Cates.
Welcome to another exciting Athalonz podcast. I'm Ron Cates. I'm joined by Tim Markison, the CEO and founder of Athalonz, also the inventor of the concept behind the Athalonz shoe. The reason today's podcast is going to be so exciting is today we're actually going to talk about shoes. If you're following us in the blog, this follows the blog titled If the Shoe Fits. And who better to tell us about how the Athalonz shoe works than the creator, Tim Markison.
Oh, thanks, Ron. So the shoe is an interesting thing. Until I actually started Athalonz, I never really even thought much about shoes, especially athletic shoes. I played baseball. You get baseball shoes. You play golf. You get golf shoes. It's just the way it goes. But once we started Athalonz and we've really started looking at what happens in the shoe, there's really a missed opportunity that I think we're filling by looking at the physics of what's going on in the shoe.
Well, probably the last big technological advance in shoes was putting some spikes on the bottom or putting some kind of grippy stuff on the bottom. Shoes really haven't changed much in at least 100 years.
Yeah, as far as athletic performance, that's pretty much true. The spikes were kind of the last big thing that really made a noted improvement. There's been a lot of advancements, with materials, trying to get light of weight, improving manufacturing process, but getting into actual athletic performance, there's very, very few innovations in decades that really get into that. When we started looking at the athletic shoe and the physics that's happening, the forces that are traversing through there, how do we manipulate those to the advantage of the athlete? So we first had to understand what those forces were. So, this is our new shoe coming out. So we'll use this as a demonstration. So this is a left shoe. So when I'm standing in it and in my athletic stance, my legs are going to be a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. So my leg's coming at an angle into this shoe. So that the leg is coming in this way. So when I'm at an angle, I'm creating a downward force and I'm also creating a horizontal force. So if I'm on a very slick surface here, that coming in at an angle, there's going to be no resistance on that horizontal side. So I'm just going to slip. So hence that's why there's traction on the bottom. So when we come in there and we start pushing really hard, our foot doesn't slip.
Yeah, but what about your foot inside the shoe?
Yeah. That's what most companies don't consider, and where we started to consider. Here's a cutaway of a left shoe. So again, the force is going to come this way, but you can see here that it's a U-shaped, and so when the force is coming this way, the foot is actually going to slide in here. And then a lot of shoes have a very lightweight upper, so they'll even go with a knit. So there's nothing on the horizontal inside of the shoe, either through the midsole or the upper, that's going to stop the foot from moving in the shoe once you put that force in an angle into the shoe. So the foot will slide in the shoe, even though the shoe will stay on the ground.
Well, I know from years of experience in the shoe industry, that type of manufacturing is done because of cost. That U-shaped lath, it's less expensive.
Yeah. So with that, your foot's going to slide in there. So with your foot moving in there, that's wasted energy. So if I'm wasting energy here, that's energy that's not going into my golf swing. So that's one factor, just the foot moving in the shoe. So we've addressed that, and I'll bring out our shoe in a second. But the other issue with this is my foot is coming in this way, and yet the shoe is U-shaped. So it's pushing me this way. So it's taking the ground reaction force that I'm creating and actually pushing it away from my body. I want that force going into my body. The more that it's going away, the less energy I have, the less force I have going into my body, the less power I can generate. So there's two factors that are going on from a physics standpoint. There's not enough horizontal reaction force in the shoe to prevent the foot from sliding in the shoe when we start to load our swing. And then the U-shaped here pushes the ground reaction force away. So we're losing in a conventional athletic shoe in two ways. The foot sliding in the shoe, and then ground reaction force is pointed away from the shoe.
Yeah, I've noticed too, Tim, that over the last few years, it seems a lot of golf shoes have tried to get really soft, so they feel good when you try them on. So the midsole is really mushy. We were talking to Bernard Langer, who switched to our shoe, and he was telling us that we won't say what shoe he was using, but that midsole would compress in a weekend.
Yeah. So yeah, he told us that in a 3-day match, that he would go between 3 and 4 pairs of shoes, so that by hole 12 to 15, the lateral part of the shoe would start to wear out. So his feet were starting to do this. So now he's even got more energy going away from his body, and that creates a sway. Because if you're on a slope like this and you put more weight on this side, your body's going to have to compensate for that angle.
So a good midsole would have to be a little bit more on the firm side.
Yeah.
Still comfortable, but not mushy soft. Otherwise, it doesn't function well.
With the mushy soft, some companies argue, oh, well, it's, we give you more spring back. Well, anytime there's a compression and a release, there's energy loss. So it's the nature of the way things work. Now, they can make it a little less, but in order to make it comfortable and give you a little bit more absorbency, it's more of a compression. So it's doing this. So every time it does this, you're losing energy. We found a balance of, we're not rock hard, but we're not soft either. But by putting the foot in the proper position, it also relieves some of the pressure on the foot, so you don't need as soft of a shoe to still be comfortable. But what we did with Athalonz shoe is you can see that we don't have that U shape. We actually have the outside or lateral side of the shoe at a much higher level than the medial or inside of the shoe, and it slopes down in a gradual way. So now when you're pushing in this way, well, now you've got this edge fighting, giving you a horizontal reaction force. So your foot's not going to move in the shoe. And then the other thing we did is we added this extra layer of reinforcement on the shoe. So you've got this holding you in and this slope holding you in. So now your foot's not moving in the shoe. And then the other thing we've done, because of this angle, well, now the ground reaction force is actually pointing towards the body. So instead of ground reaction force coming this way, well, now it goes this way. So the mathematical model you talked about at the beginning, where we've shown that you get 9% more ground reaction force with our shoe than a conventional pair of shoe. That was a mathematical model. In testing, we've actually seen as much as over a 30% improvement in ground reaction force, because players went from something like this, where the ground reaction force is going away from their body, to ground reaction force going towards their body.
So Tim, because you're the physicist more than I am, that U-shaped shoe, if that was level, it wouldn't help you and wouldn't hurt you, like our shoe helps you.
Right.
But the fact that it's U-shaped like that, it actually works against you, doesn't it?
Correct. Yeah, because it's pushing the energy away from your body. So all that energy going away from your body is wasted, and it's causing the body to sway backwards when you get into that load. Your body has to compensate for that angle to prevent falling over.
So when you put on the Athalonz shoe, you're automatically put into a more stable position.
Right, especially once you get into your athletic stance. And the other thing that's important to note is, and you can't see it here, but our heel is conventional. So it's flat across the back, just like every other heel. So you notice the athletic positioning of our shoe in a dynamic manner, so that when you're standing flat-footed on your heels, you don't feel anything different than a regular pair of shoes. But when you get in that athletic stance, you feel you sink into that stance. You feel your knees kind of come inward a little bit. And you feel that every time you move. And that dynamic movement helps the body it's an automatic feel, but it helps it also from becoming a static movement. So every time it dynamically engages, it keeps the body more invigorated. And the other thing that it helps with is it also mimics the normal walking pattern. So you normally walk heel kind of outside of your foot, roll into your big toe, second toe. So because the heel's normal, that'll happen. And then when you hit, that's normal. And then it kind of rolls you in this way into the position that you want to release off of your big toe and second toe. So what we've had a lot of people tell us is that they've noticed less aches and pains in their body, in their knees, ankles, hips, joints, things like that, lower back. So they're able to play more golf because their body's feeling better.
Oh, Bernard Langer says he walks like 9 or 10 miles a day, playing golf, and this is the most comfortable shoe he's ever put on. So I mean, that's a pretty good testimonial. I know for a fact that this has never been done in a shoe before. This is the first shoe to ever have it. I'm going to ask, how many patents does this shoe have now?
So we have 13 issued patents on the shoe. Most of them deal with the midsole here. We do have a couple that deal with customizable insoles, so you can fine tune it. And then we just got a patent on our grip and glide outsole pattern that, we call it grip and glide because it grips in the direction you want it to and allows you to glide in the direction that you want to glide in. And we just got a patent also on what we're calling our flex zone here, so that this aligns up with the toes, so that when you're bending your toes as you walk, this flexes here so you don't have that heavy material pushing down on the top of your toe. Everything we put into the Athalonz shoe was designed for performance and comfortable performance.
It has a snug booty, too, to keep you in position, yes?
Yeah. So, and then there's some heel cups in here. So it really grabs the foot, holds it in place, and allows the athlete to be more aggressive while being more stable.
I think the expression is, I want to swing out of my shoes, but these shoes you can't swing out of.
Right.
Excellent.
Yeah. So that's why, that old adage, if the shoe fits, wear it. Well, it's a lot more than if the shoe fits, wear it. Does the shoe actually do what it's supposed to do to help you become a better athlete? If that's the case, then you should wear it. And that's what these shoes do.